Hey, good afternoon, Jay. Or maybe it's still morning for you.
Hey, Melba. Yeah, it's 11.
It's 11. Yeah, West Coast. I forget. How's it going?
You know what? It's coming close to the end of the year, and we'll be lucky if it's not just us.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. I know also people are getting sick with a bunch
Oh
of stuff.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
my entire family was sick starting Thanksgiving. So I was the last one to catch something. So it's been rough, and I see people getting knocked down.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. For us, it was RSV. But I know some other people are catching the flu, and so between sicknesses and vacation, I'm not sure why people won't join, but they'll probably won't join for one of the two.
Yeah. I'm all but ready to cancel all my meetings next week because people are just disappearing.
Yeah, I was gonna put that on the agenda on what we think we should do for the positioning meetings, because there's the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. I feel like the 20th and the 27th we're not going to have anyone.
Yeah.
And actually I see most of the meetings are gone. So
Oh yeah, most of the meetings are gone that week. Yeah. And
yeah,
you're gonna see a lot more of these meetings disappear next week as well.
okay.
I mean, it's just I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but when it comes time for I usually disappear like in the middle of next week. I'm here. Oh, I'm
yeah,
around. You want to send me
yeah,
a Slack? You want to send me a DM or something like that? I'll respond to
yeah,
you. But I kind of taper off. I taper off.
yeah. So definitely the 27th. I'll still be around the 13th and the 20th. But if it's just going to be me on the meetings, then there's no point, right? So and what about the 3rd? I feel like people are going to have that Monday off. They're just going to be starting back work on Tuesdays. So
I'll be around. I'll be around on the 3rd. I don't take that week. I don't do anything like that. I come back and I get back. So I'll be back on the 3rd.
hey Bruno, thanks for joining. Okay, so let me, for the 27th, I actually don't have it on the calendar, so that means that it's nothing scheduled on the 27th. So it's really just the 20th and the 3rd that we're wondering about, and maybe the 13th. I'll be here next week. It looks like looks like you all are still having your meeting. I wish I could attend that. I have a volunteer session right after this meeting.
Yeah.
So I have to go drive there and be there by 2:30 Central Time. So I'm never able to make those meetings, unfortunately. But it looks like you all are having that next week, but not the 20th. What do you think, Bruno? In terms of canceling meetings because of vacation and stuff like that coming up? You're on mute if you're trying to talk, Bruno. He might have stepped away. I'm gonna keep for now. I'll keep the 13th and the 20th. The 3rd, unless Bruno thinks he might be able to cover it. I'm worried about my family getting sick. I have visitors coming out, and the baby always gets sick. So it says that the host doesn't allow unmute. What? I'm not the host, so I don't know, Bruno.
Geez, I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. I'm not host. I can't claim host, unfortunately. Maybe try to rejoin, because Jay was muted and I was muted earlier and we were able to unmute.
Yeah, you gotta sign in the claim host and everything like that. I wish David joined or something like that, because David is always a host, but yeah, I'm not a host either.
Yeah,
Maybe, hey,
yeah,
Bruno, maybe if you joined again unmuted, you'd be good to go.
maybe.
Jeff, can you unmute?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks, yeah. So
Oh, Jeff can
Jeff
unmute.
can unmute. Okay,
But I think it's just I think it's just
Bruno.
discriminating against you, Bruno.
Okay. So Jeff, I know Bruno will come back and he'll probably chime in. We're talking about the next couple of meetings, if we should keep them or cancel them. I'll be here the 13th and the 20th. The 27th, there's nothing on, but then there's a third. So we're just trying to figure out, who's going to be around. Are they actually going to join? If not, we can cancel some of the meetings and give people,
Oh.
their vacation or whatnot. Are you there, Bruno?
Ah, finally,
Yay.
I was getting a weird message that the host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves. I say, what?
Yeah, I'm not a host, so I can't start the recording. I can't stop the recording. I can't do anything.
Okay.
I was going to say, you could have a lot of fun with this. At this point, just mute them really quick.
No, I can't do any of that. Yeah, and I can't expel people either. So yeah, from Bruno and Jeff, like, what are your thoughts on the next couple of meetings and whether or not we should keep them or cancel them?
You mean the couple of meetings of working sessions or positioning?
The 13th, the 20th, and the 3rd. The 27th, there's nothing. But the 13th, 20th, and the 3rd, there are meetings, but I don't know how many people are going to be around.
Well, 13, I will be here. So for me,
Okay.
that is no problem.
Okay.
20, I do not know, to be honest. It's
Okay.
still,
TBD.
yeah, 27th, I doubt that we are going to have anyone.
Oh, if there's nothing scheduled,
Okay.
nothing's on that calendar that week. So
Yeah,
there's nothing.
and the third, I mean, I'll be here. I can attend as well. I can also host that meeting if you need it. But
Yeah,
Okay.
personally, I think the 3rd is going to be kind of tough just because for most of us, I think it's going to be our first day back.
yeah,
Yeah.
either way, I'm good. I'm sorry that I
Yeah.
was not able to attend the last week, but I realized that I got a H1N1 flu. So
Oh, no
Oh,
worries.
wow.
I wasn't.
Jeez.
Yeah, I wasn't around last week, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because my entire family caught RSV and
yeah,
baby was quite sick.
But
So I couldn't.
the same
do
here.
much.
Everybody in my house was sick as well with H1N1, and
Yeah.
I saw your message, but it was too late because it was
Yeah.
completely out of.
Yeah. No worries. It happens. So the 3rd, we could potentially cancel the 3rd. And it looks like even well, Monday's a holiday, so it makes sense why on the 2nd there's nothing. There's not even a tooling meeting on that Friday. So
Okay.
maybe we give people, actually, I don't see any tooling meeting over here. Oh, it looks like stuff expires, but I don't see positioning meeting. That's weird. I only see the working sessions. Well, I'm looking. There's nothing on the 10th. There's something on the 17th. Okay, I'll have to fix the calendar. It looks like only the working sessions are on the calendars now. So I'll have to revisit that. So there's something wrong with the calendar. Maybe that's why there's nothing on the 20th. Maybe no, 27th. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so let me cancel this one. Does anybody know how to properly cancel? Because if I delete the event, I think it deletes it all.
I think when you go to delete, it'll ask you if you only want to do this one Yeah,
Oh, this event. Okay. Yeah, okay. This event. Okay, so we're canceling that one. What about the 20th? I'll still be here.
yeah, I'll still be around.
Okay, so no meeting on the 27th and the 3rd, but we'll keep the rest of the meetings. Okay, sounds good. Let me write that down. Cancel 27th and January 3rd. Keep the meeting. Okay. Okay. Oh, if you haven't signed in, please sign in. Okay, here, there you go. One of the things that Josh, there was two things that came up in the Slack channel. One was from Josh about the definition of, packaging ecosystems. So I thought this was a good one for us to go through because it's somewhat about positioning, right? If we think about the different personas, right? Packaging ecosystem may mean something different. And so we should probably chime in on this of like, do we like package ecosystem or packaging ecosystem? Mark suggested, maybe distribution. I didn't like distribution because of you can distribute software, right? Like once you have something, right, as a software vendor, you can distribute it, and that means something different than a build environment, right? And then the software development. So I was not a fan of the distribution, but it looks like there's also, because Linux distribution, Python distribution, right?
Right.
That could be misconstrued. So trying to get thoughts on, is this the way we should call it, which is, I think he said a packaging ecosystem, and I can zoom in. This is a definition in the GitHub issue. So is this good, or do we think there's something that should be included or maybe reworded in here? Ecosystem. I feel like most of the time when I hear ecosystem, I think of, NPM, right, or Python. I don't consider GitHub an ecosystem.
No.
But I think someone from GitHub said that they do use, where was it? This person from GitHub, they landed on package ecosystem as the least bad option. So GitHub calls it a package ecosystem. So if you get a GitHub URL, does that mean GitHub is considered a package ecosystem?
Oh God, I feel like the word ecosystem is too ambiguous.
Yep.
Like I cannot get with ecosystem in this context.
Mhm.
I agree, but do you have a better term? Yeah,
Honestly, I don't. But I think if I'm walking down the hall and I hear somebody say distribution ecosystem or package ecosystem, the natural course of action is, well, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And then when they tell you what they meant, it's like, well, why don't you just say that shit then? Because
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I read it twice and say, wow, what does exact mean? I have to come back and try to read again. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
cannot come up with a better name as well.
Yeah, because to me, ecosystem means tight knit partnerships, and everything is really contained.
Yeah.
Complex network or interconnected system.
Yeah.
You see, it's like something that can't be explained well enough. You just throw the term ecosystem in there, and I think this needs to be very it doesn't have to be super specific, but it's got to be specific enough that there's no, I mean, we're talking about something that people are going to attest to, right? I mean, you can't attest to an ecosystem. I mean, that could be any damn thing. Jesus, man, attesting to an ecosystem. Ugh.
So this is the example that they gave online. A complex network or interconnected system.
See, even in that wording there, right? A packaging ecosystem is a set of conventions and tooling for package distribution. Every packet has an ecosystem, whether it's formal or ad hoc. Those two sentences right there, that can't be more ambiguous than that. So you're talking about a formal or ad hoc set of conventions or tooling for package distribution. That's not even secure by the nature of that. There's no security there. There's no security in an ad hoc or formal, right? You need to be able to build controls around it. You can't. How can the same controls be used for a formal or ad hoc?
That's great.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? That's not, you've got to get a little bit more specific, a little bit more specific than that.
Mhm.
Especially when you then define what a formal and then what an informal one is, and they're both extremes. Convention used within the company, and then formal is a language distribution. Well, what if a company decides that their formal ecosystem, in terms of the language distribution being used, maybe they have a policy in place that says that this language distribution is this, or this versus that. And then what if a company's ecosystem isn't informal? Maybe it is a convention user. Maybe that's formal. I don't know. I think do we decide that amongst ourselves though what that means? I think that's something that we go back to spec with. I don't know that we decide that here. Ultimately,
No, but we can comment on this, and that's what he's asking for. He's asking for comments and input.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I say, I mean, maybe we go back to OpenSSF with this, right? Maybe we go back to the and I'll keep saying this too. I said this before, I'll say it again. And while I will also say we can give as much as we get with this one, meaning they have a whole glossary of terms that they're working on under the best practices working group. We can provide them terms that we come up with or that the spec team comes up with that can go in that glossary, but we can get stuff from them as well. Maybe we bring this to the table and say, hey, for the purposes of what we're doing in the OpenSSF, what is a packaging ecosystem? Is a packaging ecosystem the right term, or what should we be using?
I forget the gentleman's name that leads that group. It's not
Crow. I think Crow leads the best practices group as far as the Crow. I think he leads the best practices group. C-Rob.
Yeah.
CROB.
But I'm not seeing him. And
the Christopher Robinson.
Christopher. No.
Yeah, it's just C-Rob. CROB. I mean, that's his handle. That's the only handle I know of.
Maybe not on GitHub.
Oh, he's on GitHub. Hold on 1 second. He's definitely on GitHub. Let me see. I'll give you his handle in 2 seconds here. Let me just open up one of his repos.
Okay. Yeah, or maybe he's not part of. I guess if he's not part of the salsa community, would it still be able to tag him?
It may not,
Yeah,
may not. Let me try to pull up where he's at anyway to see if I
because I
can.
see his email on Slack, but I don't see.
Oh, it's security C Rob. So security C Rob.
Security, see Rob like that?
Yeah,
What the heck?
yeah, that's not even showing up. That's what it,
Hold
yeah,
on.
yeah, I'll
GitHub.
I'll show you here. Oh, yeah,
No,
there he
that's
is right there.
Twitter.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
got him.
Twitter.
That's his Twitter. Yeah, so I mean, C Rob, security C Rob, just, that's.
I would think it's just C Rob, but here. Let me go back. I don't know why it's not showing. I think because he's not part of it. Salsa repo or something. Definition. So that's pretty much step one, right? See if they have something, but if they don't, it sounds like we don't necessarily like the word ecosystem. And so I was trying to see if there was a different word that we could use.
So what are we and maybe that's good. What are we trying to say? What are we trying to say?
They're trying to define, I think it's for the purposes of obviously the spec to say this is what a package ecosystem means. And
Yeah,
it's
but
comprised of
why does it need to be a package ecosystem?
why does it need to be? It doesn't have to be named that, if that's the question.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got, to say, well, when you say package ecosystem, what are you actually referring to it? Because it can't just be a formal or informal. You immediately, well, you'll lose me immediately if you say formal and informal. I'm gonna say, dude, pick a struggle. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to say what exactly are you referring to as a package? And you say, well, it's a convention of tools.
Mhm.
Okay, well then let's draw back. Like, instead of saying a package ecosystem, let's say a package tool case, a package toolbox. Right? I mean, like, I mean, if that's what you say, it's a set of tools or just a tools distribution, then you can say I don't know, a distribution toolbox. You just call it a toolbox. I'm talking. I mean, just in an effort to sound overly educated, using terms they're using terms that are ambiguous. It's fluff. I don't. I mean, I'm talking a lot with that one. I say it's fluff. I think you can get smaller and more concise and more literal without having to sound super. Hello, baby Yoda in the house. Hello, baby Yoda.
Oh, is that Pikachu or Yoda? I'm not sure. I can't see.
Yoda. It's Yoda. It's little
Yoda.
baby Yoda.
Okay.
Get the little baby Yoda onesie. That's what I'm
That's
talking
my
about.
little Yoda.
Yeah.
It looked yellow, so I was like, oh, it looks like Pikachu's ears.
Yeah.
I mean, I think think we can ask them to get a bit more in an effort to sound super techie. You can just call it what it is. I mean, doesn't take away from the smartness of its application. It just makes it so that everyone can understand it, you know.
Yeah.
So there's no, I don't know,
So
saying a lot of
thoughts,
words here.
Jeff and Bruno on this one.
Jeez. I definitely agree. The ecosystem is wrong. We just can't use that. But whether we use, I kind of agree with Jay. Maybe toolkit or something like that. To make matters more confusing. I know what our company has done is we've actually called it consume, but let's not go there because that makes it even harder. But yeah, I think if we're going to use the term package, I think that's better than distribute, because not always for distribution. Sometimes it's for consumption.
Mhm.
But definitely, I think ecosystem is nebulous and broad.
Okay, Bruno.
I agree with the comments about ecosystem. For sure, it's not a good one. But at the same time, we have to try to figure out what could be a better term, because it looks like that everything that you come out, like for example, toolkit or something like that, you can also lead to a different direction. So I agree with the package that it's better than distribution. I think that it's something that we all agree.
Yeah. Okay, so something like toolkit. So a package, yeah, and Mark here had voiced the concerns that we were kind of voicing here, which is why he chose distribution instead. Where, you know, ecosystem has too much emphasis on formal packaging systems like NPM. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier, right? And then that whole company central infrastructure, right? But I'm not a fan of the distribution. So I think Mark had the right mindset of, hey, let's try to pick a different word like what we were doing. But distribution ecosystem build. And somebody mentioned artifact repository, which I don't like, because when it comes to evidence collection and you're talking about compliance, artifact means something completely different.
Yeah.
Artifact means evidence, not like a package. I think artifact is used very much from a software development standpoint of, you know, there's this package repository, but not in the compliance world. So I'm not a fan of that word either. The artifact repository. Well, what about package repository?
Yeah.
Or package? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, I think if we use repository by itself, it might be okay, because it can be a public repo. But if we say the words artifact repository, then it gets loaded with that. That to me implies a vendor solution.
Yeah. Query. Build. I think if you do repository, I see the source control here, right? Which assume or imply source control repository and you build, is this distribution supposed to be, okay, after the build, it is, okay, here's a package and then the consumer can grab it? Or is this more of, hey, I'm going upstream to go grab my dependencies because I'm seeing this, right? I'm not sure what this loop means right here when it comes to distribution, because Josh didn't put a picture, only Mark did. So I'm trying to understand this part right here. Is this purely just once everything's built, including the dependencies, it's being distributed to the consumer?
Yeah, you know, we've used a graphic very, very similar to this. And what that dependencies means, you know, the reason it's kind of circular is that dependency management is ongoing and continuous. So even when you've got a distribution, you always have to continue with that dependency management. That's essentially what that's intended to mean. But so whether you know, source control, build, distribute, and maybe it's just distribute versus distribution, because to me, once it's built, you've got a package. Yeah, I guess it depends on how granular we want to get, because you can build it and then package it. But to me, when you've truly built it, you have a package. So now you're ready to distribute. Or consuming, and that's why, like, what we've always used, and when we talk about source code, we talk about import. So we'll say import, build, consume as the 3 steps, but consume is kind of loaded also.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of consume. But I do like these comments though, because then we can kind of, and actually, or forget. Jeff, do you have a handle?
Not yet, no.
Jay, what's your handle? I don't see it.
CAMALEON 2016.
2016.
Yep.
That's interesting. It's not showing you.
I shrug. That's what it is though.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jeff, you said you don't think you have a GitHub handle?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'll just put your full name, Jeff. For build, distribute your word. Okay. And let me copy and paste this somewhere else so I don't lose it. Because I would hate for GitHub to time me out. And then there goes all these comments. Okay. So that's number, actually, I should put it in here. Ooh, that's ugly. I'll fix that later. Okay. So I think we beat that one to death. The other thing that came up was about to have a OpenSSF landing page for Salsa. So Tracy seems to have done that for SigStore. So if we click on this, and she was saying that she could help us. And yeah, see, OpenSSF landing page for SigStore, but I'm trying to figure out where community. Okay, I see. So she wants to do one for Salsa. So I feel like this is part of our domain because of positioning. It's not part of the specification. It's not part of tooling. So I think it's part of our domain to work on this. So I'm not sure what folks' thoughts are on trying to take this on to kind of help broaden the visibility of salsa. Anybody home?
Hmm.
And she said that she could help,
Hmm.
right? We would just have to work with her, but the first question is, should we, right? Do we think it's within our scope? And then we can kind of get the ball rolling with her.
Well, given that there are already like 2 or 3 different blogs or landing places for salsa, who did those, and should there be someone that we consult that did those? Like the salsa.dev or whoever did this. I mean, should we be consulting those individuals or that person who did this?
I think Google created this.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we can always consult with whoever created. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Google created it because it's not, notice it's not under OpenSSF, right? So this was before they became part of OpenSSF. And I think maybe, yeah, let's see, if I go to Sixstore. Okay, and it goes to the GitHub page. So it's almost like it almost seems like it wants to be a replacement, maybe.
Mm.
But I'm not 100% sure. Is there, do we know if there's a sixstore.dev website? Let me see if there is a Sixstore. So it's not necessarily a replacement. Oh, this is the status. Okay. Let's see what the Sixstore.dev website says. Yeah, I was wondering about that. It almost seems like it's supposed to replace the salsa dev. Because I suspect that Sixstore also had a regular dev, which is why they have the .dev, but it looks like it's not being used for anything but the status right now. Does anybody have any contacts in Sixstore? Oh, there it goes. I don't know what happened. Never mind. So they still have it. So I think it's just more visibility then. To say these are the pieces of salsa. One would be the specification that we're working on, right? There's a few tools that we have in salsa. Where is it? Where is it? GitHub issues. This salsa GitHub generator. And then there's also this salsa verifier. Right, so there's a couple of things. I don't know if we want to put that there, but maybe we talk about it in the next overall salsa meeting. Also community meeting. Which is once a month. I don't know when the next one ends. Not this week. It's next week. It's the 15th. Okay. The 15th. That sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And then there's this lovely salsa and S2C2FJ that got sidetracked because of the last 5 weeks being nothing but sickness on my side.
Yes. We've
So what?
we've gotten some traction on that also from the end users working group who's interested in understanding the work that we've done as well.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, they're working on some type of a pitch to the TAC on some work that they want to do.
Mhm.
And of course, I told them, well, that's excellent. Have your people talk to our people. You know, come join the SIG, come get involved and join these conversations.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is I think I need the link to this document again. I can't even find the link to this.
Yeah, I think I put it on there on the notes, but here's the link. Yeah, I know you had commented on it. I didn't get to like go through it. I mean, it's very short.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but we definitely need to come back to it and do more and do more work on it.
yeah,
Especially with the changes that are occurring with the SLSA spec. I was in the meeting. I mean, you were there too when they were
this
breaking
week.
off Providence as well.
Yeah.
That's believe it or not, that's a huge change.
Mhm.
Hell, that's a huge change that affects our blog post.
Yeah. With Isaac. It was Isaac, right? Or was it
Yep.
Sean?
Yep, Isaac
It was
Hepworth.
Isaac. Gee. For future discussions. Yeah, we'll have to, I feel like if we don't come up with like a regular cadence, we're gonna get meetings running over.
Yeah.
So I think we need to just come up with something. But the Provenance SLSA 1.0 spec split. Okay. There anybody else that we need to bring in for this discussion? I see Adrian was commenting on some of this work, and I believe Adrian was the one that did some of the blogs on this, right, on your side. Is that right?
What was that? Oh yeah,
It-
we put out blogs from both internal to Microsoft, and then we put out one over the OpenSSF as well.
Okay,
That was just to announce the contribution. That's all that was.
got it, okay.
But we also, inside of the one from the OpenSSF, we mentioned it being in parallel and being bridged, being able to be bridged with SLSA. We mentioned that in that blog post as well. So there's a lot of pathways and ways to play. I did that on purpose.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know, Bruno or Jeff, if you want to be part of these conversations. This happened because of the supply chain integrity meeting. But this obviously is part of the SLSA positioning also, right? Because we're trying to position SLSA in comparison to S2C2F. So if you want to be part of the meetings, let me know. And so whenever I set up the meeting, I can send the link your way.
Sign me up.
Okay. Meetings. What about you, Jeff?
Yes, please.
Okay. Bruno, that's Jeff. Okay. And you're on Slack, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, so I can get your email from Slack.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so putting this in the yellow. 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 Okay. We have 15 minutes left. The last thing I wanted to talk about, Jay, was that supply chain security ecosystem diagram you gave me.
Yeah, the one from Jonathan, right?
Yeah, let me find it. I know it's part of it. It was in our thread. Let me find it. Not here. Oh, wait, did I find it? Yes, here, let me open it up and then. Ooh, let me download it because it's not gonna. Where did it go? Let me stop share. And then find it. I don't know where it went. There it is. Okay. Share. PDF. There it is. Okay. So this lovely diagram.
Oh.
Yeah, my my reach out to Jonathan was to get him to give me the other part to this that spelled out the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was my biggest question was, okay, well, where are these numbers coming from, right? How are they calculated? Because I think we were trying to use this also for that SLSA versus S2C2F, right?
Yeah, to see
Discussion.
where one starts, one finishes. There are also a couple of other diagrams that I'm pulling that we've done internal to Microsoft on all of the frameworks together to see where the overlaps are,
Mhm.
where there are gaps and where there are overlaps. There's some fantastic stuff that some of the people have done. I'm still trying to gather that stuff, but once I gather that, I'll share with the group here as well.
Okay.
So that we can clearly see that as well, because there was a lot of work done, especially and I think Fresca was part of that too, and Guac was part of this particular diagram, along with a couple of others, to say these are where the overlaps are, where everybody seems to be overlapping, and this is what's still not covered, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, if we can get more info from on this, that would be really helpful. Because I think when I was looking at this too, I was also seeing, I think, duplicates of something. It's been a long time. I think it was, is this compiled libraries here the same thing as this compiled libraries over here, right? Is it different? So there was a couple of other questions I had. I'll have to look through it again.
Hell,
Because
I probably will do one better and see if I can't get Jonathan just to join the meetings and have
oh, yeah, that
be
works.
able to talk to it himself. One of the things that I'm really working on for the next year, and this is something I've taken as part of my notes. This is OpenSSF at large. That's one of my charges. I'm looking at the OpenSSF as a whole. We really do need to start doing more cross working group collaboration and talks. And part of what's happening on the Diagrammers Society, our reference architecture group that when we meet, is really understanding how all of these working groups fit together under the OpenSSF. What are the gaps that each working group is trying to address, and then how can each working group kind of work together to address a lot of these things, because we're all doing great things, and some of these things that we're doing actually blend over into one another on purpose. The end users working group is one of these working groups that's a blend over on purpose. He should be involved in these conversations because of stuff they're working on, SLSA and S2C2F. They both impact, or have an impact on consumers, on the end users. So he should be involved, right? So I think my next thing is to get him to join these meetings.
Okay.
And talk to these frameworks. Yeah, that'll be great for us and good for him as well.
Yeah, let's see. So what was the gentleman's name?
Jonathan Meadows.
Oh, yes. Now I remember. So I'll put that in the meeting notes to try and get Meadows to discuss diagram where numbers came from. Okay. That was The last thing I had, I know we've been working on the development blog, but given some of the changes in that's been happening in Salsa over the past couple weeks, we'll have to revisit to make sure nothing significant is missing or needs to be removed. But we'll do that some other time. I know we've kind of been working on that blog for a while now. Any other topics, questions, concerns, things that maybe we should be focusing on come time 2023?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, I will give you a few minutes back to your day. And for those of you that are still here next week, I'll see you next week.
All right.
See you next week.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.